Hello, my name is D'Angeli Dueñas and my college Luisa Morales and Aura Borges. Today we are going to present our teacher support, which is job like groups. The, the objective is to foster collaboration and shared learning among English teacher trainees, especially those working with young learning in basic education contexts. The group aims to improve it, teaching practice, build confidence in the classroom, and create a strong professional support network.
Okay, well, to refer to main activities, we include some of the main activities are the follows. The first one is sharing lesson plans, games, and classroom materials. Also, having open discussions about teaching experiences, including both challenges and successes. Also, doing peer observation, watching classroom recordings, or visiting each other's classroom, followed by feedback sessions. Another main activity is reading and discussion short texts related to language teaching methods and organizing mini workshops about the specific topics like classroom management, teaching vocabulary, or using technology. And finally, planning fun and gamify lessons together. Yes, I think that is all about the main activities.
Okay, and as far as the benefits and development of teaching skills and strategies, increased confidence, a sense of community based on empathy, collaboration, and mutual support, access to practical resources tailored to real teaching context, greater motivation and engagement throughout shared experiences. Saying this, it's important, and this methodology will help maybe the community or the active members of the institution to create more communication skills where they will be able to contribute by um, giving contributions based on their skills, their experience, and also creating an important resource for the future methodologies. Now we're going to talk about the teacher support groups and the documentation created. So first we have the group name and location. This is in Bogota, and our group name is English Teacher Trainees. So, number two, reasons for forming the group. What are our main objectives?
Yes, well, the main objectives for forming this group is first of all to improve students' motivation and participation in English classes, and another to strengthen the development of the four basic English skills, taking into account that the first or the main problematic about or the problematic that was coincided between us is the discipline. Yes, about the specific challenges the group aims to address is, first of all, low exposure to English due to the limit class hours. Another thing is the low motivation in students, discipline problems that interrupt the learning processes, and the students who are motivated to participate are losing motivation when the others distract the class flow.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about each of the members. We're going to talk about our teaching experience based on this methodology within our institutions. So, my institution name is Colegio Nuevo Paraíso. This is located in the localidad of Kennedy. Now, within my experience guiding an elementary school, I found a lot of challenges related with classroom management, since the students are around an age where they want to test your patience and are always curious about your reactions as a teacher. I found it very challenging to control the classroom discipline, mostly with specific students. With them, I had to learn their interests in order to create activities that they were motivated about. The teacher already knew how to handle them, since she knew their strengths and weaknesses. So, with some of these students, she created a specific task for them so they could feel empowered, valued, and leaders. These were the best strategies because every time they felt needed, they became motivated to participate in the activities.
Well, thank you, Fernanda. So I'm going to explain or exposure about my experience during my practices. Well, during this, I have to say that my practices have been developed in an elementary school. I have worked with students who face, I don't know, maybe a real or several serious discipline challenges in the classroom. These issues often interrupt the learning processes and make it difficult to maintain or to keep a positive and engagement environment. The low intensity, another thing that I face in the institution is the low intensity of the English instructions. That thing also contributes to the lack of interest and participation of the students. Many students feel frustrated due to their difficulties in understanding the language, which leads to behavioral problems. Another thing, and it's a hard context, is the family and social environment, including the economic hardship and limited parental support, also affect their behavior and academic performance. And this experience has helped me to develop, for example, classroom management strategies to adapt my teaching to create more supportive and structured learning environment or space in the classroom.
Okay, so thank you, Aura. Continuing with my experience in the school Pablo de Tarso. To address discipline, clear roles must be established, a positive environment must be created, and support must be offered for students with personal problems. On the other hand, the sequences that occur due to indiscipline can affect not only the student but also his classmates, interrupting the flow of the class. Um, in addition, the student performance is not desired because he or she does not deliver activities. Continuing with um, groups goals, the short-term goals is the first improving classroom behavior within 2 weeks by implementing the reward system and holding meetings to discuss behavior and strategies. Next is improving the communication between the different participants staff. Only by working together we create many opportunities of improvement and the creation of many convenient strategies based on each experience, skills, and proposal resource. In the last one is encourage respectful interaction and active participation during lesson.
Okay, and as far as the long-term goals, to foster a learning environment during the school year with workshops on effective communication, conflict resolution, and teamwork. Also, to promote responsibility and interest in learning English over time.
Okay, well, about the key focus areas, motivational techniques or strategies will be implemented. All of this is with the purpose to motivate students to learn English, and it is important to use various or different techniques that encourage their interest and active participation. For example, using different rewards such as awards of recognition or recognition, sorry, can incentivize students to work harder by offering them, for example, tangible reason to achieve their goals. In addition, positive reinforcement is really important because it involves congratulating and highlighting the students' achievements. Other thing is help build their confidence and encourages them to continue to actively participate in different activities. It is also a key to design student-centered activities in which they take a more active role in their own learning, such as games, projects, and discussions. Maybe all these kind of things allows them to feel more responsible for their processes and give them a greater connection with the processes. I think that these strategies contribute to the creating a really classroom environment where students not only enjoy the learning in English, but also they take a proactive role in their learning processes.
Okay, and maybe by adding some information to our classmates, it's important to observe the classroom, analyze the weaknesses of the students, and the most common conflicts that need to be addressed. Then maybe by proposing the most beneficial methodology to address the problem. And by this, we have to understand the context, the ages, the genre as well, and also research or create a research, study the students, and organize the strategies for the classroom management. And maybe by creating more dynamic activities, implementing other resources such as audiovisual resources, flashcards, songs, and other methods that will help them to be engaged in the classroom. Some of the main topics discussed, um, maybe the classroom rules and expectations about behavior. It's important for the students to understand, well, the classroom rules and what will be maybe the positive consequences or the negative consequences to be addressed about each specific behavior in the classroom. It's important for them to understand that each behavior or each activity completed or not completed will have a consequence. Now, we have some challenges that we face throughout our experience.
Luisa Fernanda, could you please let me see a little bit the item number 5? I think in this part we have to say something about the meeting frequency and duration. About
Okay.
this group is the idea is meet us more or less once a month during an hour and a half after classes. And also, yes, it's important that all that you said before about the interactive discussions for addressing this kind of item, it's important to understand that this kind of interactive discussions are an effective way to encourage students to use English in a real life context. For example, by using their daily routines, interests, in different interests, and for example, another thing, personal experiences, students not only practice their speaking and listening skills, but also engage in respectful communication with their peers. This kind of discussions also create an opportunity for students to express themselves in English, which their confidence and motivates them to participate more actively in class. I think that additionally, such interactions promote a collaborative learning environment where students learn to listen to others, share ideas, and respect different points of view. And now you can continue with the next item. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, we were talking about um, the challenges that we each faced in our institution.
Okay, it continuing with as a teacher, I was confronted with problems of the indiscipline in the classroom, where several students act disruptive and show lack of interest. To address the situation, she organized a meeting with the students to discuss their behavior and create together a set of rules that everyone accepts. In addition, I introduced interactive activities such as role playing and debates, and set up a reward system to motivate students to participate and respect the rules. As a result, the classroom environment improved significantly. The and students feel more involved with their responsible for their behavior, which lead to increased participation and better academic performance. At the end of the semester, the teacher reflects on the experience and recognizes the importance of communication and collaboration in the classroom, learning that making class more dynamic and allowing a student to contribute to their roles can be key to managing indiscipline.
Okay, compañera, thank you for your reflection about my experiences, my experience in my practices. Sorry, I faced several challenges. For example, the limit class time. It's obvious that in most of the educational institutions, maybe elementary or high school, the students have to reduce source of English instructions, which make it a little bit difficult to cover all the needs, materials, and provide enough practice in this language. Another thing that I face is the low participation due to the lack of motivation and difficulties in understanding English. Many students were reluctant to participate in class activities due to this kind of challenge. Another thing is the behavioral issues. The disruptions in the classroom caused by both disciplinary problems and external factors, such as family challenges, affect the overall learning environment. And finally, another thing is the trust issues. Some students were to engage due to the past negative experiences with the learning or lack of confidence in their abilities. All these kind of things are a really combination to promoting the students. First of all, the indiscipline is the main challenge that we as our teachers in training have faced. because this promotes not only the bad behavior in the classroom, but also, for example, affects the correct English learning process. Avoid that the students, or promotes that the students doesn't want to participate, don't want to participate, sorry, or just avoid I don't know, express their ideas in English just for the indiscipline.
Okay, thank you, Aura. As some of the main challenges that I face, even though this is a really small school or institution, and they actually use Santillana as a book, so they do have a good level of English. However, I was able to see maybe that the teachers were not using different resources, but mostly base the activity on the book. It's important for primary school students to be able to interact with other dynamic content because due to this, maybe they were lacked of it was a lack of motivation and sometimes it was very the same daily routine with the book. So for me, it was a challenge maybe to understand maybe what other resources to use. And more than a challenge, it was maybe an objective that I was able to complete. Because I was able to create interactive activities, I was able to understand maybe how to engage um, with these resources, how to engage the students more. And in one of my micro teaching class that I had to do, I was able to implement these activities and it worked. They were more motivated, they were working as leaders, they were working as a group. So these factors are very important, not only to base your class by the books, but only implement other resources. Each one of the teachers have their own way to present or to be creative within the classroom. So it's really important to be able to implement other resources, maybe flashcards, audiovisual activities, um, maybe videos, stories, short stories, because these are children that obviously they want to be able to see more and to understand, and the learning will be more significant. And how were these challenges addressed?
Okay, the
Maybe.
period is using teaching methods that keep students interested and engaged, where activities are interactive group projects. The use of technology can help keep student attention. It's very important use the technology for the
Yes, that is true that the use of technology can help keep students' attention. As you said before, Luisa Fernanda, it's important to innovate or to try to implement different strategies, not only based on a field, a book. Because I would like to share with you an experience that I have in my institution, and that is important always to have a plan B, because I remember that I have to plan a really amazing class with a Canva presentation, with a videos, with a games that I create in an application. But at the time when I was to implement this class, the TV doesn't work, didn't work, sorry, and was really frustrating because when you try to your best to create a new or innovate in your class, and the classroom environment or the elements that you count in the classroom uh, don't help, is complicated, but that it is important to use, yes, obviously use the technology, because we have to keep or we have to follow the new trends. But it's important to try to use Plan B, not depend too much about the technology. Well, about the how I address this kind of situations. Well, the lessons were obviously adapt with shorter and more engaging activities to make the most of the limit time. The motivation strategies like rewards and student-centered task-boosted participation, while clear behavior rules and the respectful environment help me manage disruptions, and maybe supportive classroom atmosphere also help build trust and confidence among students.
Okay, and very good. Yeah, and as we already talked about, maybe different strategies to address maybe the lack of discipline. Um, it's important, as I said before, to understand their age. This is basic in order to create maybe for them, for my from my school, which was primary, create visual aids that can become where they can become more participant with it. For example, traffic lights, maybe a classroom calendar chart. By rewarding the most outstanding students, it can be created through maybe short term or long term, maybe by weeks, by months. For example, encourage them um, or setting up categories such as the student of the month, the most well dressed, the best participant, the most collaborative students, and such. It's important to be creative with them. Now, we are going to talk about maybe evaluations and outcomes, the overall impact on these teaching practices, and also talk about maybe our future improvements.
Okay, the implementing a system of positive reinforcement that recognize and celebrate good behavior can motivate students to follow their rules. These may include prizes, rewards, or privilege.
Well, okay, about the overall impact on teaching practices. Um, the experience to lead more intentional lesson planning, focusing on short engagement activities that respond to the students' behavioral needs and challenges. Although it was very challenging as it is as slow processes and must be working on constantly to get positive results. Similarly, become more aware of the importance of classroom management, motivational strategies, and emotional support in language learning. About the personal reflections from the group members, during the process, I understood the importance of adapting my teaching methods to the social and emotional context of my students. I realized that building trust, setting clear expectations, and using student-centered strategies not only improve engagement but also help to reduce discipline issues that is the main problem in the schools. I learned that the patience and consistency are critical when working with children who face multiple barriers to learning, and that every little progress counts. Finally, about my future improvements, I would like to include more differentiated activities that adapt to the different levels of learning present in the classroom, because I understand that not all the students or all the students don't understand the English. Some of them are really apply with this language and they try to improve themselves, but it is important to recognize what kind of students are in a specific level and others in a high or a low level. I consider also that it is important to strengthen the safe and motivating environment that we have been building as we as to look for ways to involve families more in the educational processes. Well, finally, I want to explore new tools that will help me monitor behavior and provide greater emotional support to my students in order to continue promoting their participation and progress in the class. And obviously, the most important thing, improve their behavior and the discipline.
Thank you, Aura. I will want to add a topic, an important topic that Aura talked about, which is the participation of the parents. Without them, we have nothing because maybe in different contexts, we have to understand maybe their activities, maybe what is the financial situation as well, because if we have parents that are working a lot, maybe they will not be engaged with their children. And this is going to create a lack of participation, or no, they will not be able to complete activities. Maybe some of these students will not have the resources that we expect them to have. Each student is a different word that we have to understand. We have to first research about their parents' situation, right? So maybe by creating strategies, for example, maybe technological strategies, maybe creating a platform where they will be more informed about their children's behavior, where they will be more participant, where they will understand maybe other methods. Maybe if they're not so active because of their jobs, they could be active in other ways, maybe by creating trainings or creating different family activities where they will be able to attend maybe on the weekends or in a specific days. This is very important because we have to make sure that not only us as teachers will be involved, but also the parents, the students with different activities that will motivate them through their daily routines. So also, for future improvements, it is not always easy to encourage our primary students to accomplish the discipline objectives. Training and creativity is expected always. As children, they can be very active and they need significant tools and activities that will help them canalize this energy in a positive manner. When we work hard creating resources, materials, implementing videos, audiovisual tools, they will have many activities to work on and it will become more significant for them. Therefore, they will not only exceed their goals, but also remember the teachers and the topics. So, in conclusion, we have to understand that we are creating a big impact on them. They will we will be remembered either as a positive teacher or as a negative teacher. So for us, it's very important to prepare our classes, to take into account what are their objectives, what are the main skills that they will be learning, if it's listening, speaking, writing, or reading. Maybe what is our teaching method? As teachers, we are all different. So we have to make sure that we conceal maybe our brand. Like what are those abilities that are able to help us to implement in the methodology of the institution. And of course, research about the context. These are main aspects of the teaching process that will help us as teachers to engage our students so they can be motivating about learning a new language.
Yes, that is true. That's all that you say because sometimes teachers just focusing give a lesson, or just teach a specific topic, and that is all. They never involve another kind of things, the context of the student. I always think about the context because from my experience, the institution where I am making or where I was making my practices, the context of the students are really hard because the socioeconomical situation is really low. For example, some students doesn't don't have access to the technology, or they don't have access to the internet. Uh, for that reason, it's important that we as a teacher in training not only form and how to teach English. It's important to try to develop in ourselves different abilities to improve the context of the students, the environment, to make the classroom an real amazing classroom for them, and try in the students that the classroom be a safe place for them, and that the other thing is try to that them feel comfortable with the class, that they don't feel afraid maybe for participating in English classes, and I don't know, make mistakes. That is the idea, make mistakes to learn. And yes, it is important to understand everything and the opportunities that the classroom offer. No, for example, if we have technology, well, I would like to make different activities. Or if the classroom doesn't have this kind of opportunities, well, I try to improve with different games, physical games. That is really important to be a holistic teachers and adaptive teachers.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is can only be improved by practice and by learning and error. Okay, so this is our group explanation. We thank you for watching. Thank you, Aura and Natalia, for your great contributions. Do you have anything else to say?
No, just thank you so much for your participation, for in the development of this activity. That it is important more than field and annex. It's more important for reflect about our performance in an institution on and in what kind of teacher we're going to form or we're going to be in the future.
Okay, so with that said, thank you so much, and everyone have a great night.
Thank you so much. Have a nice
Thank
night.
you.